right. I guess I can start. So, I work at Form Factor, and you're probably wondering what's a form factor. The company, you've probably heard of a computer chip, right? They make them on wafers, and they test each one of them, usually with what's called a probe card. We make the probe cards that happens. You know. And then what happens with those particular things is they kind of wear out. They got these springs on them that, all these wafer touches that they wear out. So we get a lot of returns and we fix them, send them back. And every new chip design needs a new card. So you can imagine our volume is just massive. So that's what we do. We run OpenVMS as our manufacturing execution, or the operating system for our manufacturing execution system called Promise. And so the overall goal of the project that I was given was that it was taking somebody, the person who just retired that I replaced, she would take roughly 20 minutes or so per person to look through the authorization file of the application, look through the authorization file of OpenVMS, figure out what their username should be. Yeah, and so there's certain, lots of trends like in California, right? So we had to figure out, manually how long you can only imagine it took her a while to do that. So the goal is to give this task to the hiring people and the onboarding team, and they don't need to know how the application works. And so this is what I just described. So you list out the users in both the application and the operating system. Try to figure out what the UIC number is to go add, and then manually use the copy command from the default or whatever, just to create the users. And all of the things that you do with the keystroke in OpenVMS, as you know, can be put to a script or a command procedure or whatever you want to call them these days. So it's now very easy. We prompt for the user to copy the user's email, which from that we can parse out what their username. We kind of use a standard first name or first initial last name. So all of that's very easy with like common DCL tools, and then it makes it very easy. So to run it, you just run the command procedure. It defaults the answers where people are, and then we end up with a password also that will become a random number soon. And then behind the scenes, I did a little search out there. I'd seen prior companies where I implemented something similar. It's freeuic.com, and it was out there on the VSI forums. So I just actually stole it, but in the code I commented where I got it. So, and it just has this little thing to go through all of the UICs after you give it a little bit of information like the group number, etc., to get there, and then you get the picture, right? And then, as I said, after they enter the username, I just use the $element lexical to get the user's first and last name. Do some extracting on that, again with the lexicals. And then for the searching, I just used the VMS search or the DCL search command. So you can have $status capture that, and then the search statistics can tell you how many of them there already are, and you can say, oh, okay, the next one must be 42. So enter it that way. And then right now it's using parts of the UIC to create the password and stuff like that. I think I'm gonna use the $F file name possible.
$F unique.
What's that?
Is that $F unique? Because I don't think $F
yeah, that's right. Yeah, $F unique. Yeah, that's right. Thanks. Just to get some random number to give them for their password. And then the other parts that are coming up still is as part of the normal process, we send them an email with their username, the password, etc. And the system, we do have the system emailing things out, but we've got colors and whatnot in the email that we send from Outlook. So once I can figure out the formatting of text, etc., in OpenVMS, I can send that out just as part of the program. It just does it. And then the other piece that I won't know for sure at this point is their manager, because we always copy the manager too, so that the new person can go, oh, I got this email. What's this mean? What is this? Really, that's all it was. So, yeah, any questions?
Yeah, so that command procedure is invoked inside of a VMS system, right?
Pardon? That one there?
But is that something that a manager does, or do people log into some VMS system?
Well, right now it's still the developers, but we're going to push it out to the desktop support team.
The people that are on board, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they just run an @sign this, and they can actually get a
Mhm.
username created in the right UIC group for you.
Mhm.
And if that group has some identifiers and things,
Mhm.
or you use ACLs.
We don't as much, but
It's then making sure that they're in the right group with the right ACLs. too,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
That's the case.
yeah, I mean, all of the users, like we have a default one that we copy, and so, okay, that one's in the right group, it's got the right everything. When they need more privileges, it's inside the application in general, not at the DCL level.
What about everything else? What about their directory?
Oh,
That
it also creates the directory as
it
part of
also creates a directory, but
Yep. Copies a generic login.com for them.
so you have some sort of a guideline for where to create the directories.
Yeah.
And it's fairly simple probably, because
Mhm.
otherwise, I mean, how do you store this information? What if it changes, or does it never changes?
The users,
What if you decide to place user directories on a new disk?
they'll be easy just to go modify this command procedure to say, go here and say.
Right, because now if I'm following your line, right, and all the users are getting created on, say, disk 2.
Yeah, we're on
Right, so now
the
what
user
happens-
disk.
We're getting too many users on disk 2, we need to push them out to disk 3. Somebody's got to go in and make a change. Right?
Yeah.
There's no, further logic saying, hey, look, what's this space like on disk 2? What's this? What's
Yeah.
that? Maybe we need to go to disk 3 or whatever, but yes, it had to be a little bit thinking.
Yeah, there's no, the size of our company is pretty small, so
Okay.
there's no real
Right,
need to
so for
worry about
somebody
that
to
yet.
say, okay, we're done with users on disk 2, I'll go in and make the change so they all get on 3 from here forward and 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, if somebody retires, then they'll all go on 4 till 4 fills up, and then they'll go, hey, how did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, who's Patty and why did she do that? Right? So, yeah. Yes.
I wonder how you manage the constraints. Because I have done this thing maybe 25 years ago. I
Mhm.
was running a pre-share site. I had Arcadium Alpha and Vax. This user created, just edit the name. So name, email address, desired password. And then I pushed the file. This file was just through FTP over to the box, to the Vax or to the Alpha. Then a small script did exactly what you did.
Mhm.
So just simply created accounts, and also so there are other things, because the user usually want to have a web page. So create all the ACLs and rights in order to be able to use the web server to have access to the home directory. send mail out to the user,
Yeah.
whatever.
It sets up the
My
forwarding
biggest
too.
challenge
Yeah.
in all this process was the constraint. So if the user has such a strange name, some
Yes.
episode of something in the password, or the email address is too long, or it doesn't give you the family name, for example.
Yeah,
So all these script just breaks.
right.
So yes,
It just
so you
breaks.
can- yeah, it breaks. So it will not. I may not say that breaks, but it will not read the user. So you need to handle all these things. So what my solution was that I pre-checked. So said password length can't be more than 8, or what was it in my system back in the time. So the email address need to contain just these characters.
Yeah.
Nothing else is accepted. So when you pre-check, then the script will work.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
So
with-
what is your solution?
For the email, if the username and email combination is longer than what is it?
32 characters or
Or
something?
whatever the number is for username. And then the owner field has a certain length as well. So I sort of chop things off, and then at the end right now, it's confirming, saying, okay, here's what it's gonna do. Does this look right? And if it doesn't, then the user can start again. That's creating the account.
So you added some logic.
Yeah.
But this template script is actually useful. I think it's called newyuser.com or something. So just follow this pattern,
Right.
do the things, put everything there, but it just feed this script with the proper parameters and everything will work.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. It's good, and it's VC, for VMS copy, and it does the application one too. So it's, again, they don't have to know how to log in. All they need to know is the PuTTY, or get on the PuTTY with a generic account for the desktop team, and then it will create everything. So.
What about expired users or users that are no longer with your company? Do you check those? Do you delete those? How does that work?
They get disabled, and then they don't get deleted.
But they get disabled manually?
Right now, it's a manual process. Well, I'm going to add to this program, or a new program for that same team that says, okay, the user's leaving, go disable it.
Right.
You could use expiration dates on the
We do.
account. Oh,
Yeah,
so you just, and then someone will have to reapply it, so please make
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. And the account that gets copied as the default one gets sent, it pre-disabled, so we have to undisable it as part of the script also.
Do you also set the expiration dates in the past?
It, I think it's either automated as 90 days as is,
And also
or,
on the first login,
yeah,
so they have force.
Yeah. that one's, I think, standard and auth.
So,
Right, so you're modifying when you give the initial password, you're not doing like no PWD, you're just doing a modified password. Gonna trigger the login and it'll say that I'm gonna update. Yeah, that's good.
so new password rules, and I was arguing for this for a long time in our company, is that the general advice now is that you do not force password changes. You actually just ensure that they are of a sufficient length and complexity. It's on the both the UK and the US government security side, so you should not be forcing people to change passwords.
So they can use the same password.
For a
Just
long
like-
time, yeah, and I haven't changed my company password for 2 years now.
Wow,
Okay,
that's not very
That-
secure.
there's,
Well, but it has to be a good
it's got to be a
length,
Yeah.
good
complex.
It's
It's gotta be
15,
good and complex.
yeah, 15 or more characters, and
Yeah.
has to have a,
Nobody has to be breaking into your system, then it's
Yeah,
secure.
yeah.
This is where password policy, like, you use that to ensure that you, when they are changing the password, they are using something adequately complex and not
Yeah.
just using the the password dictionary, that's rubbish these days.
But that's weird. I mean, I can understand that if you have MFA. Because if you have MFA, it's better that they have a complex password and you have the same for 10 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, we have
Mhm.
that.
If you have MFA, I can understand. If you don't have MFA, it's a bit weird not to ask to change.
Yeah, that, I'm surprised that that's the
Yeah,
case.
that's,
I hate like every 3 months, it's password change week.
Yeah.
Oh no.
yeah, some of our clients have that enforced. In fact, some of them are 2 months, not 3 months.
Oof.
So, yeah, but back in the day, it was 30 days.
30.
And I had to go through a huge number of systems to modify the records to
Mhm.
change the password lifetime to 90 days.
Or you could skip that though, right?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
stretched it, yeah, but I also looked at all the accounts that were dead, had lots of login fails and never been used for access for a long time. But we couldn't just randomly delete the accounts because we often found that software engineers would steal a bit of code from somebody else's login.
Yep.
And if you remove
And
the
still call it.
account, something broke the current user.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just gonna call that guy's login every time I log in and that gives me
Yeah.
all the symbols I need. No. Why don't you just copy it?
Yeah.
Make your own.
So that's why I like your idea of using a template login.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, if we polled a lot of our customers, I bet you there would be no fewer than 300 or 400 versions of this.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because every company usually has some little thing that they need that's a little different than everybody else, right?
Mhm.
And you grab the free one and then you add in the different things on your default account that you were unique to where you're at, right?
Mhm.
And then you can put it in the hands of your onboarding people now.
Right.
And then in your case, developers or system managers or whatever don't have to be going add user, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Because we did put that lovely $6 examples add user in the OS for everybody.
It is there. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let me make note of that. List all examples. Is $6 examples?
There's,
Is that-
that's been there for, I don't know, since I remember VMS, right? So, $6 examples, add user.
Okay.
You know, it was developed by a system manager, so that way there, we would always have a job adding users.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, it's just pretty bare bones, right? I don't think anybody actually used it, because once you actually use it once to create a user on your machine, then you would do copy, you know, this account to that account,
Mhm.
slash UIC equals my new UIC,
Yeah.
pass equals what I, right? So you'd write one long, you know, thing in authorize and go click. And,
Yeah.
oh, there's my new account.
Yeah, exactly.
I have actually. This is exactly that script that I used and I modified and now it's set by these parameters
Yeah.
and it creates everything.
Yeah, it's nice to
But
have.
it is fully true what you said. So for example, for my tax, alpha and IK and now for the next entities, so you need to create a new screen because there will be a new thing. So the home directory is somewhere else. The Apache server works differently. On VAX, you don't have Apache, you have this.
CSW,
Sorry,
see,
I don't know what is the VAX server name on VAX. It is something
Anymore.
different.
I think I purged it out of my brain.
It just simply works. So, right, you know, once you set up it, I set up maybe 20 years ago. Since then, I haven't touched it. It just works.
Yes.
It's funny because when I got to this company, they've been using the software and operating system since before the turn of the century, and they're still manually creating them.
But you see this so many times that it's so funny. Sometimes you walk into a new place and you see the person is doing the same thing once a week and it takes half an hour.
Mhm.
And then you go like, give me 45 minutes and this will be the last time you ever see this.
Yeah, exactly.
People just get super used.
And it
to
just runs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So,
Well, they don't want to fix what's not broken in their eyes.
yeah, my process works.
Mhm.
I like doing it this way. I'm retiring, so I need to pass this on to you. I'm like, wow, this is taking too long. And I give it to, we've got like 4 of us that kind of do this, and the boss is included in that group, and she's like, wow, why did it take us this long to do this?
Did anybody else come over with you from the other company or just you?
No, just me.
Okay.
So
Do you use the password enhancement feature of VMS?
I'm not sure which one that is.
It's some product.
Yes, the password enhancement. It was added, well, so it's automatic and that's,
I love it.
it's automatic in x86, but if you don't know it's there, you might not use it.
I don't think we do because we're still on ATM right now, and
Yeah.
it's the pretty. We're not. I think we're on 7. I don't know which version of OpenVMS we're on right now either. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's probably available because I think it was available for HP versions, VMS,
Yeah.
like 7. Yeah, but I think it's a separate product in Alpha. And it gives you stuff like better, like the
Password complexity.
More
length.
characters,
complex
etc.
length, more
Yeah.
characters.
It also gives you the ability to write a template and you can use it to inspect all your other users. So do all my other users
Fit that.
fit that template?
And what's the product you call it? Or the password enhancement?
What is it called? And
Yes,
password enhancement or enhanced?
it was
password?
definitely called password enhancement by HP. I don't think we changed that.
Oh, I don't know. I remember going in 923. Not 923.
Enhanced password management.
Or that
That's when.
dash
Okay.
2L3.
Yeah, I think that's what we're on. Yeah.
Okay. It is a separate product for retaining.
Yeah. I'll ask Angus about that. See if he's got it.
But it's
Don't get him going with passwords.
Oh, I know. He hates
I'll
passwords.
give you a few pointers on that, Dave.
He's one of them that he's got. Well, I got to type in my 18 million character password and complain about it the whole time and do
Right,
it.
by every keystroke. Why did they?
Exactly.
It's true, right? When are we gonna get to the red scan or give you my thumbs up in the morning? Okay, here I am.
I'm in. Yeah, that's what.
But that was something I was thinking, because so Neil was talking today about having single.
I'm the one that asked him for that.
So, I think for VMS, it'd be useful to have a tool that, so you join a new company, this is your ID for all the systems, and then that's handed to a company that can then automatically convert that into, something that will work through that single sign and do all the necessary on VMS, which doesn't relate to the rest of the platform. So I think that's the way forward.
Yeah, and there's a company out there that, you just, when you get to the door, your phone opens it, your phone logs you into your computer, and why wouldn't that work for OpenVMS?
We did pilot MFA for OpenSSH and OpenVMS. So basically it gives you this, in the terminal, it gives you this picture, the QR code, you scan it and log in via Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, or whatever you want.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good to have.
Actually, they did it with the Microsoft, and I think the Google was a little bit more complicated, but it was
Oh.
still doable. Right?
Okay.
There was one of those that they decided,
Yeah.
let's just take the Microsoft because it's easier, but the Google one, the API was a bit complicated.
Yeah, we might include it into OpenSSH, but that will have to be the new port.
9.
So that's,
So just to, one other thought I was having, right, because I was thinking of Angus again. So once this is done, right, and then have you entertained using Web UI? And for your, and that would be either for your knock or for the onboarding people or whatever, because the next thing you're going to get is I forgot my password, I got locked out of my account, I kept typing the wrong one, right? So then the door opens again and somebody with system grips has to get rid of the intruder and fix the password and stuff like that. And the Web UI tool is kind of pretty handy.
Is that up there in the version we're running?
Excuse me?
Is the Web UI
Yeah.
part of our?
It's not.
No, no,
part
it's a
of,
separate product.
It's an add-on.
Okay,
Yeah, but it's a GUI.
that'd be good to have.
I was working with Angus because he was, we were doing a lot of that at the end at Skyworks, so
Yeah,
I
okay.
didn't know if you were in
I
on
think I'd
the
left.
testing we were doing for it, but
Yeah.
he was pretty excited about it because it's a GUI that, you can connect into the VMS boxes, so somebody with little or no experience can make password changes, things like that. So it also has some identifiers, a couple of identifiers that go with it. So you can even have like some users that you might want to have access would have read only into it.
Yes,
So they wouldn't actually be able to make changes, but they would be able to see if something was going on or whatever. And then like maybe other people that you would entrust to change your password for somebody,
Yeah.
right, that don't know VMS, that you don't want to hand them a comp file or making commands. You can put them onto web UI, they click on the user, they add the password in, and.
that'd be good.
So it could be something that you might be interested in demoing or something.
Okay, yeah, I'll mention that because
It's called web UI.
web UI.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yesterday I talked about the sysiof.dat that got renamed lo.dat.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Now, I've figured out on the system that obviously the sysiof blown away before on me. So I actually wrote some DCL. I'm not quite sure it's standard for lowering Ripple's standards. However, I did have from that system a relatively recent full listing from the UAF file. So I hunted around. I thought surely somebody has written a bit of DCL to take a full UAF listing and turn it back into commands to our counts. No, we haven't. So I wrote something to do that.
Well, they have, they just didn't make it public.
Yeah, you don't, yeah, right, yeah.
I know.
Maybe I
Yeah.
should have asked, but they don't pay support on that system, so that's how. But yeah, it subtly identifies the values, the identifiers should have, so it would have all the identifiers and also the users, and it would decide. I saw the note about assigning random passwords. So I've built a table of basically 100 words that I would take 2 words and a number so I could issue each individual new account the new password as well. So I wrote, maybe I should throw that code out there.
As I said, rarely do people run into that with the amount of backups and things people do nowadays.
Yeah, but they weren't running backup.
Rarely, right? So
With the train smash.
Wouldn't it be easier to have just an AE integration? I know that people have it currently, but
Active Directory. Well,
yes. But there are so many tools that can manage it, and especially when they're going in the cloud, I don't want to set up system accounts on every clone, what I create in the cloud. So like this, they said, okay, if you are asked for a password, there is a guy, and you ask the AD, and it can be the same or you are managed on some way, and then you are detaching the complexity of VMS with using the AD's all positive parts.
Isn't that the LDAP? Isn't that LDAP?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's what
that-
we're trying to
Yeah,
get in 923.
yeah, so we have that LDAP, which goes in, Acme LDAP goes into Active Directory.
And first,
It's,
Or just-
I know, well, not in the x86,
Well, we had
but,
to, but we had to do the port,
right.
and the port is what's coming new into.
Right. But like on Itanium, I'm sure, I mean, I've worked with a couple of guys, Paul Nunes, the guys that set it up. I mean, I know there's some companies running it, so we can look into it.
because this is no problem for me, but this will solve all these problems and complexities. So just expose all the password outside of the system, and you can just implement. So the VMS will be as secure as you set up, but all the complexity around managing the passwords is out.
Right, which I think we accomplished through Acme LDAP in Itanium, on the Itanium.
Well, thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit back to the original script. So I have a similar thing, as it happens, creating accounts.
Of course.
I think everybody has battle scars with that.
Yes, so my point is, one of the issues that I'm kind of expecting, I don't have them yet, but they'll come, is running out of UICs in a group, right? So you create a new, the script checks, which is the next available UIC, creates a user there, but then eventually we're going to run out of UICs in that group. So that's going to have to loop over, and some of the accounts are still active, whereas other accounts are not active anymore, they're expired. I do have a script for cleaning out expired accounts that runs periodically, but that means there's going to be a certain amount of fragmentation in that UIC group, if you know what I mean. So I was wondering if you had a solution for that, or you could think of something.
Free UIC thing that I found,
Yeah.
you give it the starting number.
Right,
Yeah.
it goes and starts running down the list and see what's so.
Yeah.
So if you actually Swiss cheese out and clean out the ones in the middle, his script, when it goes to add another one, will start from the top and go down and look. That script, I know, I've seen it. We'll go down and look and say, oh, here's the next one.
Okay.
It's like, 21, 57, whatever.
Yeah, something real low.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
It's like, oh, that guy retired, we get rid of his account, the OIC is open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he does that by checking status once it runs.
It just checks you give it the front number and it just runs down, it does, like in the background, it does show brief or something.
Yeah.
Runs down and then starts, saying, okay, what's my very first one
Right.
that's available here?
Right, and the complication that I have on my systems that I manage several clusters, and different students get created on different clusters. So I manage them from one cluster, but it basically goes in SSHs to other clusters and creates accounts there as needed. There's a jump box, and then there is one or more other clusters depending on whether it's a student or a teacher or whatever. Anyway, so I got to check the UICs on all of those systems because I want the UIC to be the same for the students on all the systems.
Right, to be the same, not the next available. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
So, but that's a good idea. I'm gonna look into that. Thanks.
And also, there was a product, Carebros.
Yeah.
It was very useful for exactly for these kind of
Right.
environments.
Potential spend. Okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.